welcome to another week of the Coach's Perspective. I'm Jeff Gorham, your host, and we had a great game this past week as Hillcrest and Riverside Poly went at it. This week we have two more games on the docket, starting with Thursday night as we have Norte Vista versus Claremont at Zach Earp Stadium. And now we are joined by the head coach of those Braves of Norte Vista. He's been at Norte Vista, I'm going to say, for 74 straight years at the helm of the Braves. He is Ken Batdorf. Ken Batdorf, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Now, Coach, you guys, you had an antiquated short season here in the spring. You finished second in the River Valley League behind Hillcrest. But we have a new season. We're actually playing in the fall. Can you believe it?
It's great. I'm so excited that we're playing in the fall. I really wish we could have had a playoff last year. We had a bad game. Hillcrest played well and beat us and got the league title. But, those things happen. That's why you play the games.
Now, Coach, you guys were 1-0 after beating Hesperia up at Hesperia on Friday night. Before we get into the Claremont game, tell us a little bit about how you guys did Friday night.
We did some things really well. We did things we need to work on. We didn't run all smash mouth football, which everybody's used to. We spread it out a little bit, which was kind of interesting for us. We put some of our guys in space, like Eddie Elaine. We had to punt once, which I don't like, and we turned the ball over once and cost us a touchdown, which I like even more or less. It's not much fun, but overall, I was really pleased with our kids. We hustled to the ball. We tackled pretty well. We made big plays. We threw the ball a little bit. So we did a lot of things that were unusual for us.
Now, Coach, Eddie Elaine had 4 touchdowns. Again, I think he's had 9 games where he scored 4 or more touchdowns. What is it about this young man that makes him so dynamic?
Genetics.
Is that what it is? Plain and simple.
It's his mom and dad. You know what? He has been blessed with a lot of talent, but I'm going to give Eddie a lot of credit. He works really hard. If you go out and watch our practice today when we're in Gassers, I'll bet $20 he wins. He doesn't just sit there and say, I'm good and I know it. He sells out in his conditioning. He works hard in the weight room. So he's the guy that was blessed with great genes and now is taking up, with a work ethic on the field to match that. So that's pretty impressive.
And talking about those good genes, he is the younger brother of one of your former great running backs, Freddie Holly. And what impact has Freddie made on young Eddie?
Well, especially when he was a freshman, because we called him up when he was a freshman. And it's a little bit different in high school football, as most people know, because you're going to get yelled at by your coach. You're not the superstar where everybody's, it's okay. And he was pouting once, and I called Freddie in Hawaii and said, hey, talk to my freshman running back. He's pouting.
Now, Coach, let's talk about a little bit about your other backs. You've got some great players that have kind of complement Eddie. You've got Jesse Carval. Tell us a little bit about Jesse.
Jesse is surprisingly fast. You look at him, he's like 5'8" and about 200 pounds, and you think he's slow, but he's actually deceptively fast. He's got great balance and great power. He's a 450-pound squatter. And between that, it's hard to gauge it because you're trying to deal with Jesse and then you have Eddie. So they really do complement each other. One's power and speed, the other one's speed and speed. And then we have some other kids that ran the ball exceptionally well Friday night. Demarion Richardson, I think he had 60 or 70 yards rushing. Isaiah Chamal had about 50 or 60 yards rushing. So we have a lot of weapons, which is really nice.
Okay, Coach, now let's talk about the big boys up front. You always have a tremendous line, especially for your offense you run. Tell us a little bit some of the guys that you have on that front 6, front 7 you got.
Well, we have a couple returning starters, which always makes it nice. Daniel Tellez, who I can't say enough good things about. He's almost a 4.0. He power clean, I think it was 275. He benches like 350, squats a half a house. And he leads our line. He started last year, and we were huge up front, and he fit right in. He's about 270. Angel Navarro got thrown into the starting lineup last year, and he's starting, same kind of kid, great grades, great work ethic. So they kind of anchor our line. The big addition this year really was Pablo Ortiz. Pablo's our center, and his nickname is Baloo. If you look at him, you'll understand it. He's built like Baloo the bear, and he weighs about 330. And he does a great job at the center spot. And we have some other kids who are doing a great job. We have Maui, aka Victor Ong. Unfortunately, he broke his hand against Asperia, so he'll be out for a little while. Juan Armando did a great job as well for us. So we had some kids out there do pretty well.
Now, talking about the other side of the football, you guys, your defensive coordinator, Andy Martinez, he's been around nearly as long as you have been. You guys are both fossils in the coaching community. Tell us a little bit about your defense, his defense, and what we can see this year.
Andy is a lot older than I am. I want that known right now. People say, what's going on with Andy? He's got to stay around. He's the only guy older than I am. But, Andy does a great job with the defense. The biggest thing we do is we pursue to the ball. We want to see in the picture, I want to see 11 guys. And every day when you go to practice, the first thing defense does is team pursuit. Every day we're relentless about that. But we're turning a lot of guys on defense, a few guys on defense. We got Jesse Carbajal and Isaiah Chamal at linebackers. They started last year for us. We brought Eddie Elaine from free safety down into the box. So he's more like a hybrid guy, outside linebacker, strong safety type. And that gives us a lot of speed at the linebacker spot. The D line has kind of been rotating. DBs, we got CJ Richardson. CJ's a tremendous corner. Isaac Gaines played phenomenal on Friday night. Really good receiver, but at corner, he was locked down. He broke up a couple passes, made some phenomenal open field tackles. So that was great. And then at safety, we got Keenan Stoddard. And the other one is Dominic Garcia, who also plays quarterback for us.
Now, Coach, you named every guy. I've been talking to coaches earlier this year, and they can't name about 5 guys because everybody's new. But that's one thing about your program is you have guys that you start with the freshmen, and they go all the way through school, and you really have a hands-on approach with every one of your guys.
One of the things I try to truly preach is we're a family. And during COVID, I was taking food to kids' houses, checking on them, even though we weren't playing. I was going to check on their families. And because of the relationship you build with kids, it comes back tenfold. This weekend, I had a family donate 2 pallets of water. I'm still a little sore from stacking it. But it's those kind of things that Sal Sena and Victor Hernandez graduated in 2013. They called up and wanted to donate a team meal. It's funny when I talk to other coaches, the problems that they have, I don't have. I don't get any of my kids recruited. They stay with us. Sometimes I'll get a kid to move in, but pretty much our kids are our kids. And I don't have to worry about recruitment. I don't have parent problems. My biggest issues are grades and fundraising. And that's it. And then, you develop rapport with your kids, treat them like you're your own. You love them, but you may have to sit them or discipline them. But at the end of the day, you still love them. You may want to choke them, but you love them.
Well, Coach, let's fast forward to Thursday night as you guys are going to take on Claremont. And anytime I think of Claremont, I think of the McGuire brothers that, Mark and Dan McGuire. Dan McGuire was a great quarterback at San Diego State. His brother Mark obviously was a great baseball player. But tell us a little bit about Claremont football. You and I have talked. They're pretty good, aren't they?
They're very good. The hardest thing for us is, we're looking at last year's videos, and they were very, very good. They did great things. This year, everything's been canceled. They were on COVID restrictions. So I'm going into the game somewhat blind. I didn't see a scrimmage. I haven't seen a game. I haven't seen anything. So we had a scrimmage in a game, which in some ways is an advantage because we've played. We kind of know what some of our guys can do. But also they've seen what we're going to do. I'm not healthy. They're probably healthy. They know what we're going to do. So it's a give and take. I just want our kids to come out and get better each week. And if we do that, that's great.
Well, Coach, I'll tell you what, 5 quick questions I'm going to ask you before we get going. You got to answer as quickly and as honestly as possible. Favorite band, NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
Neither.
Bakers or Del Taco?
Bakers.
Favorite movie actor?
Tom Hanks.
If anyone was going to play you in a movie, who would you cast?
Jim Belushi.
Jim, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, and finally, what is your favorite moment ever in your past 74 years as coach, or 76 years as coach at Novi?
It's really close. When we won the semifinal game, when we beat San G in 2013, and nobody gave us a chance. And I don't know who was hugging who longer. Ron made it, me or Andy. We're all hugging each other. That was pretty special. And then in 1995, we played Temescal Canyon in double overtime, and we scored on the last play of the game to win it. And we were at RCC, and the entire crowd stormed the field. Those are pretty damn special moments.
Well, thanks, Coach. Hey, who's your favorite Gorham?
Your wife.
Okay, that's everybody's answer. But, Coach, thank you again. Good luck to you on Thursday night. We'll have the game here on Riverside TV as the Braves of Norte Vista take on Claremont. We'll see you Thursday night. Thanks, Coach, for joining us. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
And we are back here on the Coach's Perspective Show, and we are now joined by former Notre Dame high school superstar, former head coach of Rim of the World basketball, and now the assistant principal in charge of athletics at Riverside Poly High School. He's a dear friend of mine, the great Jim Vaughn. How you doing today, Jim?
Doing great. Thanks for that intro. You're elaborating a little bit on the superstar at Notre Dame, but thank you. Appreciate being here, and thanks for having me on.
Now, Coach, you are in charge of athletics for Riverside Poly, as I just mentioned. You know, it's been a tumultuous couple of years here we've had with the COVID restrictions and so forth. How has your job changed as an athletics director of a high school in the last 2 years?
It's unbelievable how much change has actually come along. Just the being in tune with the California Department of Health, as well as the Riverside County Department of Health, our relationship, and just the idea of staying on top of all that has changed tremendously. How we go about our business has changed as well. But it's still exciting. It's still a good job, and I enjoy it every day. And we're just happy that we're able to get our kids out there and participate, and to continue to wear the green and orange in my case, and more importantly, just to see all those kids get out there and compete is fantastic.
What are the protocols of the Riverside Unified School District? Do you guys test the student athletes right now, or is there any testing going on within your student athletes?
But we are following all CDPH guidelines, as well as county guidelines. So we're using that, and we're being very diligent and about maintaining our distances, wearing masks whenever possible. Worried about our indoor versus outdoor events. We're still maintaining social distancing whenever possible. As well as following just your common sense, making sure you're washing hands, providing ample opportunity for students and coaches and staff to wash their hands and to maintain distance, to wear masks whenever possible. We're still doing all those types of things. We're still mitigating those factors, but as of now, we're going forward.
Now, God forbid something terrible happens and a student or coach tests positive for the coronavirus. What are the procedures then would you take if you had one of your student athletes test positive?
Well, we follow the guidelines that are put forward by the state, and we'll contact trace, and we'll be very diligent about to whom that student is coming to contact, and make decisions based on that. Every situation is different. Every case has a little bit of its own layers of complications. So primarily we will do our diligence of contacting those that have come into contact, as well as notifying our teams, as well as the students and our community about those contacts and those types of things.
And now I'm out in the community. You know, I'm always talking high school and college sports. The biggest question I have from parents, from fans, is what is there a limited capacity? What are the requirements to come watch a high school game? To say maybe a high school football game.
As of right now, we're still following the county guidelines. You know, basically, you got to look at it as indoor versus outdoor sports. Indoor sports, we are requiring masks to be worn at all times. We're not having snack bars inside so that students and spectators are taking their masks off to eat or anything along those lines. All our snack bars are prepackaged foods, so we're not doing the kettle corn guy out there and making. I know you're a big fan of the kettle corn there, Jeff. So I know it's a disappointment to you, but we are selling it prepackaged. It's just not the same as what we've done in the past. Kona Ice was always a fan favorite as well. Any of those types of things have been removed. We're not allowing those types of things. However, outdoor, our spectators we are going to our capacity. As it relates to like football, we will stick to the capacities of the stadiums. However, they are outdoors, so we are following those guidelines that are set forth by the state and the county. So you can go. I mean, our numbers aren't like they were last year where we had to limit to 25% and those types of things. But as I stated before, things change pretty frequently, and I could see that changing in the future depending on where our current numbers go. So, but as of right now, indoors you have to wear a mask, and outdoors, we're still at capacity levels.
Well, Jim Vaughn, I really greatly appreciate you coming on and talking to us a little bit about the protocols and the safety measures that you and the city of Riverside are implementing for our students, athletes, and coaches. He's Jim Vaughn. I'm Jeff Gorham. We'll be right back with more on the Coach's Perspective. And welcome back to the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV as we discuss the second game this week of our doubleheader, and that will be Martin Luther King versus Ramona High School. And we are now joined by the first-year head coach at Martin Luther King High School, the great Jason McMains. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great, man. Good to see you again, Coach.
I'll tell you what, you've been at a couple places. You've been at, I think the last couple places you were at Citrus Hill, Notre Dame, Carnegie, and you and I go back years at Jurupa Valley. But how does it feel to be heading the great Martin Luther King High School and the football program this year?
I'm excited, man. I'm definitely honored and thrilled, to be here. It's definitely been, a process this summer. Definitely awkward as far as how late things have, kind of progressed and kind of everything, going in that direction. So, we've had to make adjustments, as far as the short amount of time we've been here with the players and kind of getting things ready for the fall season. But, we're excited, and we're thrilled to be here, and we can't wait to see what we can do on the field this season,
Well, Coach, you took over the program, I think you said 7 weeks ago, so a very short time with these ball players. But what have you seen in these past 7 weeks that has stood out to you coaching the Wolves?
A bunch of guys that are working hard, man, that come to practice and are doing everything we asked them to do. When we came in, we just like, hey, just all we're asking is to give us your best every day and let's see improvement every day. We do got a short window. We have to have a sense of urgency at practice, and the players have been giving us, exactly what we want and what we need, and so, we've dealt with, a little bit of, some adversity and speed bumps through the short amount of time. And, with last week as well, with just kind of having some guys out, but, all the kids have responded, even with moving some guys around to different spots last minute, just to be able to see us compete against another team and get ready for the season.
Now, Coach, you guys opened with Ramona High School. Ramona, just 2 years removed from a CIF championship game. What brought you to? I don't know if you had done the schedule or what. How did this all come about? You're playing against these Riverside schools. Kind of a nice little rivalry going.
It's a great rivalry, and Coach Mashinsky is a great coach, and have so much respect for what he's done and is doing right now at Ramona, and it'll be a great first battle for us. We definitely want to compete against great teams in our area and obviously in our league, and so we're definitely excited. I had nothing to do with the schedule, but I'm definitely happy with where we're at and some of the teams that we're playing, and we'll progress from there.
You talked about some of those teams. Can you tell us a little bit about your preseason schedule? Because we know you have the daunting Big Eight. You got to go through Centennial. You got to go through Norco and those guys. But tell us a little bit about your preseason schedule.
So we got Ramona, and then next week we travel to Paloma Valley. Week 3 is another great rivalry in Riverside. It's us against Poly. Then we have Patriot, and then we finish up with Silverado.
So a pretty tough non-league schedule, a couple of local teams in there. It's great to see. But let's talk a little bit about your team. Let's talk about the offensive side of the football. Let's see, some of the key players that you're going to have, maybe some, some quarterbacks, some receivers, guys that are the skilled guys.
Yeah, no, we definitely really love what we have at the skill positions. I'll definitely start with our offensive line and being anchored by our senior Matt Tyndall. I mean, he's just a great leader for us. He'll be playing both sides of the ball, but he definitely anchors, what we do up front. Obviously, Elijah Simley Flores, the returning guy. He was a sophomore last year. He's a junior now. He's definitely a great talent at wide receiver. And at running back, we got a guy by the name of Noah Neal, who we're real excited about, so that's a good thing too, is, with us coming in, the short amount of time, but we do, we're not real senior heavy. I mean, we do have a lot of great seniors within this group, but we have a lot of good underclassmen to kind of work with and progress with, down the road as well.
Well, you've always been known as an offensive guy. You were, the offensive coordinator, I think, over at Notre Dame, and I saw what you've done at different places. But what about your defense? And tell us a little bit about maybe some of your coaches that you brought on staff, and let's talk about the defensive side of the football.
Well, from a defensive standpoint, I mean, it starts with Chase Shackelford. He's an all Big Eight linebacker that's returning. We got some great safeties in Zypher Schnackenberg and Dayton Ford, so, those guys will definitely, anchor what we have in the secondary. A guy by the name of Jack McPherson is going to be kind of a two-way guy for us, at safety and slot receiver that we're real excited about as well. And then we, up front, Kenny Felt will definitely, anchor our D-line, and we're excited to see what he can do as well. So, coaches, we have a good mix, of, guys that have been here, prior years and staff and Coach Rich Martinez and Mike Torquato, those guys that did a great job in the springtime, and kind of mixed up with the guys that we had at Citrus, coming on. And so, that's just something that we're still, progressing through and getting the defense side of the ball, kind of all together on the same page. But that's, again, just like offensively, that's just all going to take time, through the season and as we progress.
Now, Coach, you've been a head coach at a couple different places, but what is the one thing that you've taken after all the years you've been coaching? What's the one thing that you brought into this season, into bringing in the new culture for Martin Luther King football?
Well, I think, it is the culture, and we've talked about, from day one, we're more concerned about how we do things and doing things the right way than exactly what we do. How we do things will be, basically a direct result, of our success. If we do things the right way and we're always competing, they're always giving us their best, and finding a way to get better every day and creating value for themselves in practice, no matter who we play, and wanting the desire to compete, at a high level, week in and week out. As long as we, focus on those things, then, I think the culture that we want here at King will definitely, ultimately turn into, the successful team that we want, the program that we want.
Now, Coach, you've chose to come into the Big Eight, and I'll tell you what, is that something that really intrigued you about the job? I mean, you're playing against some of the best teams, not only in the state, but some of the best teams in the country. Is that kind of where you wanted to always be as a head coach?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm getting kind. It's kind of sad to say, but I'm getting kind of old now, Coach, and I've kind of getting into the years, and my kids are getting older, and this and that, and so when this opportunity was presented, it definitely playing those top teams and being in the Big Eight and just competing against the best in the area is definitely something that was very exciting, so really looking forward to it, looking forward to, the season and how we progress and how we, progress, not just this year, but obviously, in the future with, once we get our first off season with the players, and how we can really develop the guys, in a long-term setting.
Well, Coach, we're really looking forward to the rivalry renewed between King and Ramona Friday night. But before you go, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions. You got to answer them as quick as possible and as honestly as possible. So here we go. Question 1, Justin Timberlake or Justin Bieber?
Timberlake.
Okay. Denny's or Coco's?
Denny's.
Favorite movie of all time?
So you got your quickly. I would say Moneyball because I watch it like pretty much all the time. So I don't know why, but I love Moneyball.
Okay, who is your all-time sports hero?
My all-time sports hero. For me, it's not an athlete. I love Joe Gibbs.
Sounds good. Now, finally, if you weren't a football coach, what would you be doing outside of education, coaching, anything? What is your dream job besides coaching?
Oh, my dream job. Probably outside of coaching, I would probably be like a park ranger or something. Just live out, in Yosemite or just be like a camper or something. Just get off the grid, man.
You'd be like an Alaskan bush person or something like that.
Yes, I would love doing that, man.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time. Thank you for honesty and those fun questions. And we're looking forward to seeing you Friday night and your Wolves as you guys battle Ramona High School. He is Jason McMains. I'm Jeff Gorham, and this has been the Coach's Perspective on Riverside TV.